It goes back to people trying to protect their own business assets because there's so much to lose from this mistake. The thing is that people get so caught up in the business, they forget about being humans. They forget about the humanity of acknowledging, because they focus too much on what they're going to lose and the whole idea of being vulnerable and owning up to your mistakes is a lot scarier than trying to make it go away and making it true and spending money on it.
Beep.
Beep.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the Awkward Tea Party, the place where Max and I, awkwardly fumble through pop culture, clients, and talk about whatever we want. Today, Max and I Max definitely has a lot to say.
I'm Jasmine Masters and I have something to say.
So yeah, I hope you're all doing well. It's been actually a pretty wild time for I'm just going to go right into it, for Asians, Asian Americans in Pacific. Wild times. But you want to take it away? I know, because I have other topics in mind. Yeah, go ahead.
You know what I want to take away? I'm hungry.
Max.
I'm hungry for justice.
Oh.
Segue. So here's what I need to say. Fuck white supremacy. But for real. I mean, this has kind of been triggered by a lot of articles and videos that I've seen, everywhere. It's been in the news lately, thank God, finally in mainstream news. Because I used to be only able to find news about anti-Asian violence on sites like Nextshark, anything that's Asian centric, nothing on MSNBC, not even NPR. My people at NPR don't report on my people. Got a bone pick for that. But yeah, and what was really getting me fucked up where, there's these famous Asian people and half Asian people or less that are, that never really revealed what kind of Asian the other half is. It's just it's safe to assume they're some sort of racially ambiguous, and that's actually how they get casted, because they're oh, we can do whatever the fuck we want with you. We can cast you in whatever role we want with you. You can be white, you can be not. But anyway, I saw it on the comment section because I like to doom scroll all the time. Comment section on an article about what's his face? The guy that plays Reggie in Riverdale. Because he's clearly half Asian, but it's never been revealed that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
What the Asian half of him is. So it was Korean. So he's finally saying oh, I'm half Korean. This is my Korean family, blah, blah, blah. And one of the comments that really just got me fucked up, and they were oh, so now you say that because it's convenient and trendy to be Asian now? Bitch, let me tell you, I popped a vein here, and here, because a lot of people, especially white people, the very privileged ones to begin with, don't understand that, they don't understand or believe that there's this little thing called a model minority myth that was designed to pit minorities against each other. So everyone's so all these privileged people are going to be oh, well, look at the Asians, they're successful. Why can't you be successful? They're not white. Yeah, because we literally minimize our own problems and our own trauma just so we can just keep our heads down, keep working, and then be successful eventually. But not all of us become successful. Look at me, I'm here, and there's this there's this kind of internalized racism in a sense where a lot of these kids, especially if they're half, they try to minimize and suppress their Asianness as much as possible to be able to fit in, whether it's at school, especially younger, when we were young. Because I've heard stories, I didn't grow up here, so whatever. But I've heard stories of Asian kids that would go to school with udon and this really, really delicious ass food.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the 90s, these fucking white kids are ew, what's that smell? Ew, that looks like worms. And then they're just well, I just want pizza and fucking bland sandwiches now, because that's what everyone's eating. And it's a simple, it starts from the simplest, what's that smell? Ew, that looks like worms, into, even in the workplace, it's just what even are you eating? What is that? And it's even at my job, I was eating, it wasn't even Filipino food that I brought in. It was Indian food. So that stuff was amazing. The whole office smelled amazing, but somebody walked in, literally looked right at me and said, what's that smell? I'm flavor. You don't know anything about that, do you?
Flavor.
flavor. And it was literally just Indian food. And, and they're just like, oh, this office smells like food. I'm like, yeah, it smells like delicious. I'm like, unlike what you were having, microwave fish.
Isn't that bad?
It's terrible.
Who microwaves their fish?
Idiots. I'm like, there's a whole oven in the kitchen. Turn it on. Put it in a fucking baking sheet. Bake that fish.
Yeah, I don't cook, but I even know not to microwave my own fish.
Okay, you cook. You don't cook.
But like even then, I'm like a simpleton compared
enough to keep yourself alive.
Thank God I had Jordan's mom told me you don't do that ever.
Yeah, don't ever microwave any type of seafood, be it squid, fish, anything that came out of the ocean or the river.
Yeah, I never brought lunch through elementary school but I don't recall experiencing the whole food thing growing up because we were lucky to get the whole lunch ticket thing, and I guess apparently that was if you were a low earning family, right? Am I right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah,
I just thought that was
technically my family and I would have qualified for that my senior year in high school, my only year in an American public school, but my parents are like, nah. I'm like, I could have had free pizza.
Yeah, I was
or dollar pizza or whatever.
I just thought that was normal. A lot of my friends
75 cents a slice.
Everyone, at least as far as I know, every kid in my class was on that.
Well, yeah, it could have been that too because my friend was on it, and I'd stand in line with him, and he literally just would say, "This is my number," and they just hand him milk, pizza, and I'm like,
yeah. I still remember my 6th grade PIN number for my lunch.
But yeah, I think I didn't have the whole food experience thing or whatever. Most of the time, I literally just either brought a sandwich that my dad made or something because we didn't have time. We just didn't have time. Anyway, my experience in school, when I was growing up, when I was in my senior year, it was, it started even before the school year started. I had to take, because I wasn't born here, I had to take the English proficiency test so I can go to school so they can place me, whether they can place me in regular English or ESL. So they told my mom it would have taken a couple hours. And I was like, all right, text me when you're done. I was like, okay. So I sat there, breezed through the written part, sat down and spoke to the proctor or whoever was giving the whoever was overseeing the test and for the verbal portion, and we were just having a conversation. She's like, oh, talk to me about this picture. I was like, all right. So they're sitting on the couch watching TV. It's probably storm outside because one of the kids is looking out the window, and she was like, are you sure you've never lived in the United States before? Your English is amazing. I know they mean that as a compliment, but it is not, because when the school year finally started, they placed me obviously in English 12 with the rest of the seniors that were not in ESL. This other kid behind me was just like, wow, your English is really good for someone not having lived here. I'm like, again, not a compliment, asshole. And then also, I've seen your essays, your grammar, and your spelling is appalling. How am I, whose English, whose second language is technically English?
Yeah.
Even though I actually grew up speaking it ish, in tandem with everything else. Not everything else, but how is my spelling and my grammar? How are both of those things better than yours? How do people spell could? When they conjugate, when they combine could and have instead of COULD apostrophe VE for could have.
Yeah.
They put could of could and the word of OF. Yeah. I'm like, who raised you? Why are you insulting people whose second language is English? Sit down and write me a fucking essay. Perfect grammar, perfect spelling, perfect punctuation, capitalizations, everything. And I'll put you up against somebody whose second language is English, who was taught to write before they spoke, and we'll see. So yeah, that was it. And then I think the worst of it was people telling me what I'm allowed to identify as, because I was just oh, I'm Filipino. So I also identified, and I was saying oh, Asians, blah, blah. They're just you're not Asian. I'm like, how would you know? You white. They were like, well, aren't Philippines islands in the Pacific? I'm like, yes. Also in Southeast Asia.
I remember this debate actually happening a lot through my Filipino American friends and Filipino friends from the Philippines, and they would actually have the debate between if they're Pacific Islanders or
Indian people are Asian.
So yeah, it was, and the way what I was told from my Filipino friends from high school is that they considered themselves Pacific Islanders because even though they were from the Philippines themselves. And that's where I was confused for like a long time.
No, we're Asian. And then there was literally this white kid who was like, you're not Asian, you're Pacific Islander. I mean, look at you. I'm like, excuse me? And then they pointed at some kid who was Japanese. They were like, you don't look like him. I'm like, yeah, because he's Japanese. Like, yeah, he's Asian.
Oh shit, but they're also on the Pacific Island.
So the only Asians you know about are, so I literally sat there. I was like, so the only Asians you know about are Chinese, Japanese, and Koreans. And they were just like, no, like Thai people are Asian, Vietnamese people are Asian. I'm like, yeah. And then there was this kid who was Vietnamese. He was like, hey, come here. Where's Vietnam? Like, Southeast Asia. Where's the Philippines? Southeast Asia. What do you know? What do you fucking know? Like, if you actually watch like the Southeast Asian games, like we all just make jokes that like, yeah, we're all interchangeable at this point. We all just wear like different jackets or like to represent our different countries. Like, yo, like we, like especially like in countries like the Philippines and even Singapore. There's people in Singapore that look more Indian. That there's a lot more people that look more Chinese. There's a lot more people that look like us, that look more Malaysian, because it's so fucking diverse. Same thing with the Philippines. Like 333 years of Spanish rule. And then also there's natives that are still like, that still have been able to keep their like culture. There's ones that, you know, look more Malaysian, the ones that look more Japanese, the ones that look more Chinese. Why? Because all these people tried to fucking colonize it. I'm like, you know, it's like, I felt like they were trying to kind of take my identity and do whatever the fuck they wanted with it. And it pissed me off. But at the same time, I was like, and here's the thing, like, I think this is where it kind of goes into that whole like model minority thing. Cause it's just like, I don't have it as bad as like Black people or like Hispanic people. Like I've been like minimizing that. Cause I mean, technically, yeah, it's not that bad, but like fast forward to now, like, you know, people are saying like, I've seen like, you know, people is like, nobody's hating on Asians. I'm like, they literally got shot at. And, you know, and like, for me, like, I still kind of like, I'm still guilty of like kind of like minimizing it a little bit. Just like, again, it's not as bad as like Black people. I'm not fearing for my life when I leave the house, you know, even throughout all this. And I think it hit a little too close to home, but like not home, like nobody I know and nobody around here where I am. But there's, you know, my favorite spot in New York, St. Mark's Place.
Yeah.
Right. I saw an article and a video of this woman who is Asian or of Asian descent that got assaulted on her way to protest violence against Asians. And it was, you know, the article said she was traveling to somewhere and then they gave an address like nearby. It's like 51 Astor Place. I'm like, wait, that can't be the Astor Place that I'm thinking about. I watched the video. It was right there, right by the Astor Place subway station where I get off to get to St. Mark's. And I'm like, God damn, that is my spot. And that happens there because I was like picking and choosing. I was like, oh, the next time I'm able to go to the city, because like I'm halfway fully vaccinated. Like after I'm fully vaccinated, and if I don't show like, you know, any sort of like 2 weeks after at least, like probably go to the city. Shut up. Probably go to the city, you know, with my friends. And they're like, are you going to be okay? I was like, I don't know. I guess I'll just go to like the village or something. No, because like people are a little cooler over there.
With the stats you sent me earlier are alarming.
Yeah, I was like, it might be, you know, people are a little cooler, like on St. Mark's, like it's, you know, St. Mark's was my safe spot. And like, that was like one of the only places I never got bothered by anyone. And it's almost always packed because people just kind of left you alone. They're just like, all right, she's chill. And then that happens like very close to there. So I'm just like, really? And like, to the point that like, you know, my aunt bought like pepper spray. Like it's getting bad. Shit. It's like people that like, you know, they're the ones that are also like pretty notorious for minimizing like Asian problems and minimizing like they're pretty notorious for minimizing everybody's problems as the Filipino women that they are. But like, you know, even they're just like, holy shit, they're getting self-defense like stuff. And I'm just like sitting here, I was like, should I get more? Like, I'm pretty sure the old like keychain pepper spray that my friend gave me is pretty much, I haven't used it.
They're in your aunts are in New York, right? Have they?
I have aunts. I have a family in New York, but like the aunts I'm talking about are the ones here, and there's one in like down south. So yeah, it's like fucking scary. Like I've never felt this scared before. Like I was telling my friend, like I shared it to my friends, and like I was telling them, I was like, guys, I've never felt that worried if I'm gonna be able to not survive, like if I'm gonna be able to handle myself alone in New York City until like now. Cause like,
yeah, because you often just like don't hesitate to just go on your own.
I never like hesitate to go on my own. And the thing is, like, I told them, like, and I will quote myself. What did I say? I can handle a random creep that just wants to touch me. I don't know how I'll be able to handle someone that wants to kill me.
Yeah, that's
So I'm just like,
different intent and intensity, and it's just scary just thinking about that.
Because like someone trying to fucking bother me is fine. Someone trying to either kill me or like hurt me is like that hits different. Like I don't, like, do I need to go back and train?
It's a scary thought.
And I don't even know if those gyms are open.
I know some, I kind of wish you were here, because I know some places are actually like allowing, like, are taking students for their own self-defense stuff. My Sifu, he's doing classes again.
Oh,
and then what do you call it? Jamie, she said she's doing Aikido. It's a free class. So yeah, I don't know. It's crazy, like, just to think about it. And I honestly have a hard time putting towards my thoughts about it, because I try not to think about it, because it's like, I don't know. I just haven't really thought about it much. I just know it. I'm aware of it, the possibility of it maybe happening to me. But I also think I look like a lot of things to people. Like I could probably look Hispanic, or even or like a terrorist for some people because of my beard and long hair. yeah. I mean, I've gotten randomly checked plenty of times through TSA.
Yeah, but either way, they're gonna discriminate against you because you're brown. You're some sort of brown.
And then when they touch me,
well, they got when my friends were like asking, like, because me and my friends pretty much almost got the same, like, vaccination appointments were on the same week as each other. So like we got ours this week, and then like 3 weeks later, we're all going to get ours in like different days. And then we wait another 2 weeks until we're technically already fully vaccinated per the CDC. So yeah, bit of info. You got to wait 2 weeks after your second dose or your one Johnson & Johnson shot.
I don't know what I'm getting.
Yeah, if you're getting you're probably getting a 2-dose one. It's if you're going to like a big site, they're not offering the Johnson & Johnson ones. The big sites like that are.
I think they're offering tequila or a shot.
We were talking about like, like what we were going to do first. Like what quote unquote normal thing, obviously still masked and, still trying to be a little safer, but like we can actually do other things now than just go to the woods.
Yeah.
And, it's like go to New York, go get Korean barbecue.
You can vlog it.
No, I'll have a camera on just for,
the photos.
And also if somebody trying to come for me.
Oh yeah.
Be like, internet, do your thing. But yeah, they were talking about like, and then they talked about going to the city. I was just like, maybe how do I make myself look less Asian? Because I've been, and like, because I mean, there's a town here in New Jersey called Dover, and it's and it's like very heavily like Puerto Rican, Colombian. It's like very heavily Hispanic. It's a very heavily like Hispanic kind of town, and somebody like. People try to speak to me in Spanish there, and like even on a lot. And like this is when I was going to college. Like when I first started, I was barely wearing like makeup. I would just like, especially on days when I'm running late or I have a super early lecture. It's just like I'll just slap powder on my face and go.
It's like a cloud.
I know.
I'm ready.
Or like there was one. Oh yeah, when I was in LA, I was taking the bus home from Pasadena, and this dude just kept talking to me like straight up in Spanish. I'm like, I understood a little bit of that, but I can't respond to in English, so I hope you understand me, because he was asking me questions. And then there was another guy that was like talking shit about me, because I basically saying what kind of Mexican is she that can't speak Spanish. And then there's this older woman like next to her who's also Mexican, was just like, so basically told him to shut the fuck up. She's not Mexican.
So I'm just gonna hop onto the chat right here real quick, because I know she's he's probably gone. Jax, appreciate you. If you ever watched the replay, Joey is saying, yeah, I wanted American food, but because my food wasn't pretty looking, definitely
it's not Filipino food.
I remember bringing Indian food to my work. I think this is when you were talking about Indian food to my new workplace, and they were all curious in a good way, which I was happy about.
Yay.
So yeah, I've never, I don't know, I've never experienced that part of like the whole food thing growing up. I remember the whole eye thing, seeing that, but I was also like, but it was I grew up in the first half of my life. I grew up in K-Town, which is
what's everybody's.
It's pretty diverse, so it was like just that kind of jokes were like far and few in between.
Yeah.
So I think B-Rock is saying, I wonder if I still have a gym membership. I just start doing calisthenics. B-Rock, I do it. So
Emeroy doesn't need a gym. His house is a gym.
Yeah, 100 push-ups.
If there was no COVID, parks are his gyms.
I would much rather work out at a park than wait in the stinky gym. I'd like to be out in the sun, where I can get sunburned and become browner.
Patchy because you have baby skin.
That's true. And Joey, did you ever get the same race racist? What does that mean?
What?
I think that's a question. You ever get the same like if you racism within your own race? I don't know. Like
Asians being racist against each other?
Same race
Yes.
racism. Okay, there we go.
I've been called a jungle Asian. I mean, I also lean into that because I fucking love that. And for me,
Jungle. You're not Filipino enough. You are too dark.
I get told.
I get the whole dark thing.
When there was, like a point in time, like obviously when I dye my hair, I have to bleach my hair. So it's like yellowy blonde. And then I had bangs before. And then I would wear my eyeliner like this. And then to have like Filipino relatives be like, what are you, Korean? I'm like that's a bad thing.
Yeah, like, so Joey in the comments, he's saying, you're not Filipino. You're not Filipino enough. You're too dark. You can't make XYZ food. You aren't Filipino. You don't speak Mandarin. You aren't Chinese. You're too dark. Oh God, yeah, that's something my friend Justin had to deal with growing up in high school. He was a brown-skinned Chinese guy, and
everybody thought he was Filipino or something.
No, and then his family would just look down on it because they look down on dark skin.
Mm-hmm.
So and I know the whole being brown is huge within Filipino culture. It's like because
the most whitening products.
Yeah, I remember my mom throughout middle school. I think I used it for a bit because I was like, I guess it's here. I'll just use it. Whatever.
It's soap. It's soap.
That's me. That was me. Like soap is soap.
So out of control in the Philippines to the point that there's this brand of feminine hygiene wash. I forgot what it's called, lactacid or something. I use it still, but just the regular version. But apparently in the Philippines they have a whitening one. I'm like, bro, are you trying to whiten your external genitalia? Like, what is the point? And then they've rebranded a lot of whitening things to brightening, like even in Korean, in K-beauty, they have makeup. Like I have foundation from a Korean brand and I have the darkest shade that they have and it is still way too light, so I still have to cover it up with which is still kind of okay because I contour and I apply bronzer anyway, so it evens out to my actual skin tone. But if you're just skin matching it, if you're not trying to contour, you're just trying to slap on some foundation and go, that shit's gonna be way too light. This is the darkest they have. I
think I came into really liking my skin. I just don't. I think I'm gonna give credit to.
I don't really care. I mean, I can tan. I tan because I look good tan.
I started liking it when some people said, "Oh, I like your skin color." I started getting compliments on it.
Oh, is it the same? Is it the same way where if I say I like your one shirt and you wear it 50 times a day, 50 times?
Kind of like that. It was an opinion outside of my mom's. Or even family. You're getting so dark. Bitch, I am the darkness.
I'm Batman.
Yeah, and I think part of it, I think I'm going to credit to it. When I don't even remember when I started liking it, but this one quote from the Bible or something, the whole pot, the clay pot, the potter and the clay.
I guess you know more about the Bible than I do because I've never heard of that.
Something about I'm so butchering this parable or something, but it was something about I
went to Catholic school.
The pottery guy and the guy who's molding the clay pot doesn't question the creator why he was made this way.
Okay.
In a sense, so and
you're Lady Gaga born this way.
So yeah, I was kind of like that. I was okay, I'm brown. What's wrong with me being brown? I was I like how I am, and so I was hell yeah. And I just started accepting it because, aside from compliments and that, that was kind of my breakthrough of
that.
So, I'm not talking about the Satanic
Bible.
Though it varies.
Satan will encourage you to embrace yourself.
Yeah, it's very interesting philosophies. I think if people actually read it, it's more about the self in a sense. But anyways, I'm about to butcher information.
Stop talking about the Bible. But yeah, some of the stuff I'm saying, it's kind of surface level, but at the same time, and I don't know how kids are in school these days. I'm pretty sure kids from a more diverse neighborhood that go to a more diverse school are a little cooler about their friends being different looking because they're just kind of used to it because they grew up around. But when we moved here to this part of New Jersey, my brother was the darkest one in his school.
Oh wow, your brother is pretty light skinned compared to me.
My Luke.
Oh yeah, Luke's dark. I thought you were talking about your older brother.
He's lighter than the rest of us, and I'm the medium one, I guess. I was gonna say, but we went to his high school graduation, and literally there was just a sea Caucasians, and then the Asians that were in attendance, not even graduating, in the stands as family, were adopted by white parents.
Oh wow.
So there was one time somebody actually mistook me for somebody's adopted Chinese daughter. And they were just like, oh, it's just so great of your parents to adopt you. It's just, I wish you could do that too. It just probably just feels really good to be helping someone in need. I'm like, ma'am, I'm 20.
I mean, on the one hand, it's nice that some people are doing that. At the same time,
like,
don't assume.
Don't assume that A, I am Chinese, B, I am 12. I mean, I did look like I was 12. And see that somebody had to, and I had to be adopted to be able to live here in this here fucking town. I had to be adopted by an angel of a white family. I mean, yeah, we live in like, we lived in like one of the apartments. It's just right on the main drive, but whatever, we live here. My brother goes to school here. Fuck you.
Anything else you want to add or continue, like a commentary about everything that's happening? Especially there was this one post that you had like about like, don't F my Asian family and all that stuff.
Oh, well, yeah, that's kind of, well, kind of circling back to like the first thing that I said about like, someone saying that like it's trendy to be Asian. Like, it's not trendy to get shot at, Karen, Gertrude, Walter, Kenneth.
And it's
like,
funny.
Sit down. Like, if you're not going to help, sit down. I don't fucking care. I don't care what you do. Just sit down.
Yeah. It's funny because like the first thing I see on Instagram when I just randomly pop
it up. That one. Is it the like, racist woman that spit on an Asian guy on a bus?
Instantly
and he was just like, and he threw her off the bus.
Oh my God, man. Where do people think that they get that it's okay to...
Well, this is why they've been, because that video is old. That this is why they've been targeting our elders. Our elders.
Because they're vulnerable?
Yeah, because they think they're vulnerable, except for that one Chinese woman. And
they kicked it.
I mean, the thing is, like, yeah, that was like great. She was able to defend herself, but like, did it really have to happen?
Yeah, it really didn't. Wow.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, that's like, the thing I'm saying. I'm like, yeah, I can fight. I can defend myself. But like, I've only been able to do that against random creeps at a bar, at a club, on the street. Like, I haven't been able to try and defend myself from someone that actually legitimately like wants to hurt me.
It's different when someone has the...
And not like sparring either. It's like they legitimately just like want to end my existence.
That's a scary thought. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. What about Mr. Beast?
What about Mr. Beast?
Something happening with him? I'm gonna have to check real quick. Something happening with him?
Pause. What happened to Mr. Beast? Oh, about what? Let me see.
What happened?
I don't know. Apparently a scandal. I mean, I know David Dobrik.
I know David Dobrik. Twitch streamer takes 10K from Mr. Beast to quit. There's that. Oh, there's a scandal.
Oh.
Mr. Beast offers refund after glitches spoil finger on app for some players.
Oh, okay.
That was not as bad as the other one.
It's not David Dobrik, but it's not David.
I kind of don't want to talk about it,
I don't either.
It's because it's so.
Wait, what?
Are you sure? Is it? Wait, Joey, is it about? Is it Mr. Beast? Or are you talking about the David Dobrik one?
I mean, they both give away so much. It's David Dobrik.
It is David Dobrik. Yeah, I was about Mr. Beast.
I was like, God damn! Everybody, stop giving away money on YouTube.
I mean, it's nice. It's clever. It's. Definitely great clickbait. Yeah, the whole David Dobrik thing is.
It's not even like done with yet. It's. Well, I don't want to talk about it. It's a little triggering too.
Release another apology today.
I heard.
So, which is better in context of the one after, and in regards to me like going through my years of my 52 weeks of anger management and therapy, of like what an apology really is. So I was like, he acknowledged some of it, but not all of it. And with the context of everything, and I don't know if I'm going to keep this in the full podcast, but like it now it's like the timing is just terrible because he's releasing it after he loses all his sponsors. So it's like, so you're doing it after you lose everything. And it's unfortunate because I feel like for me, like in my thing, I feel like I almost had to lose everything to get the lesson. And then that's where you're truly sorry. And I feel like that's where he's getting it. He didn't lose. He's not, in the street. He still got a house, like, and all that. But a lot of forms.
He's not on the street. He's not in jail.
So. It's unfortunate. It's one of those things of like, it's too late now. You had plenty of chances to acknowledge it. And especially what he tried to do prior. Was just like
people are also going to be referencing the shitty apology that he put out earlier.
Yeah, it was very broad strokes, like
lawyer written.
Yeah. So and then in my head, do you ever? I know you're never like gonna try to push being a YouTuber or anything like that. But what would you do if you had to if you're in a similar situation where you were getting canceled?
I was getting canceled. I'd lay low, and that's the thing. Like I will issue as sincere of an apology as I could muster, and then lay low. That's all you can do. That's all you can do. And if that means I earn enough money, then back on the street.
Back to the streets. No,
but then I guess I'm couch surfing. I don't know, but like
Yeah.
I don't know. And I mean, I'm saying this as like a regular person who's never had the I was never had a following, and never will. I never earned that money, I never will. But I feel like just
watch
as a
3 years from now, I'll get you party
Nope.
getting sponsorships by getting canceled every month.
if it's not Raid Shadow Legends, I'm walking. I'm kidding.
No, it has to be Raycon. It has to be Raycon.
If it's not Raid Shadow Legends or Casper Mattress, I'm not.
What about Adam and Eve?
Oh, I'll take Adam and Eve.
I'm okay with some of these. Just so it's like it's for the the meme of getting of these sponsorships. Sorry, go ahead.
I'll never be in their place where technically I have that much to lose. Like, I'm saying this as someone who, compared to them, I have nothing to lose. So I guess what they're trying to do is they're just trying to save face, but like trying to hold on to as much revenue as possible. But it's not working out. Like, I mean, it's I hate to bring him up, but like Shane Dawson is just going to disappear from the internet now forever.
Yeah.
Because now even his fiance is getting canceled.
Oh yeah, it's because they're refusing to do anything to better themselves in a sense.
And they're really leading into that whole thing where they're siding with fucking Satan at this point.
What?
Satan in makeup.
Okay, I was like, who?
I'm not saying that name.
I think he recently left a video last week about leaving YouTube or something like that.
No, apparently his assistant and his videographer are leaving.
Oh, okay.
Dating apparently.
I didn't watch. Oh, wow. I didn't watch it.
I mean, here's the thing. They've all been like holed up in his mansion together. Shit's about to happen. Shit's bound to happen.
You want to get holed up and
mansion? Sure.
And get hitched. So
mansion trying to look for each other. Where are you?
Imagine
in that mansion.
I would not want
that $14 million mansion.
I would not want to live in a mansion because one,
I'm in a TV room. Which one?
It's like, yeah, because you and I are both tiny also. So
I'm in the garage. Which one?
And it's like practically like a game of Clue waiting to happen.
The only thing that we only have one of is a pool. So like, I'll meet you at the pool.
Yeah, like that's like the meeting spot. But
I'll meet you at the Louis Vuitton bench.
Yeah, what do you call it? Joey said on the comments, temper tantrum will get big and get canceled.
Oh.
I hope not, but that's
I have to put out those fires.
Because then me being like, I guess the quote unquote face with either me or Brandon, the faces of temper tantrum, we would have to like release the whole statement thing. But even then, I feel like I would handle that better because I guess I've experienced what it's like to almost lose everything because of my ego. No, B-Rock, if you were the face of both companies, we would
be canceled by now.
Yeah, we would lose business immediately. We would not land these two clients that just came in through us because you know why? I talked to them. I was you want to work with us?
Yeah, but I sent them the emails as Emeroy.
Yeah. So, anyways, going through the whole canceled thing, I feel like going through that part of my life. I feel like a lot of it, I draw a lot of my lessons from the moment when I was in jail and I had to go through the system of like 52 weeks, everything, and of having to acknowledge and have to communicate, improve my communication in terms of, I guess, apologies and empathy. I feel like I do a pretty okay job or decent job. The thing is, just thinking about all these celebrities or when they're trying to do it, they're always being told what to do by the PR person or the lawyers and whatnot. And it always just seems to be the wrong move. Like they're just trying to cover their ass. Like that's essentially what Dobrik did for the past few weeks. Like lawyers trying to cover their ass, trying to make it go away, trying to make it go quiet instead of being on defense, instead of being on offense. And
he was gonna lose his sponsors anyway.
I think so.
Just own up to it.
And I think the people are much more forgiving than they think. That's the thing. Like if you own up to it, people are more forgiving and obviously an apology video or any apology is never there's always going to be two sides. They'll accept it and there's going to be people that don't see it, that it's enough, but doing that
people
ahead
are
of time,
much quicker to forget too.
Yeah. Other than if you try to lie to them, you try to trick them, that just pisses people off even more.
See what Jeffree Star used to be good. I can't believe I'm saying the name, but like what he used to be good at before, like, people call out like some of like his past deeds or whatever. And then he'll sit there, he'll film like an apology video, pretty much like acknowledge it somewhat and kind of give the illusion of, like, yeah, I'm learning from it, blah, blah, blah. And then everybody loves him again. He's back, he's back to selling out fucking makeup palettes, like, every week. And then something else drops and he does the exact same thing up until, I guess, people have had it. Like, dude, how many times do you have to post the exact same apology video? And then the worst one was him essentially gaslighting people, saying it's true. There are bigger problems other than YouTube drama.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like literally evoking Breonna Taylor's name, be like, Breonna Taylor never got justice, but you're still harping on me about this. It's like, first of all, you're the one sitting on your Versace couch.
You gotta be sitting on the floor,
lecturing people that a lot of them have paid $52 a pop for a palette, telling them that they're being dumb, that they don't have their priorities straight. It's like, no, they gave you so much of their fucking money. They just need to know, are you that shitty of a person or not? Did you waste their time and money or not?
Yeesh. I don't know exactly what's going on with him, but yeah. So
that's his thing though. Like, that's another kind of approach to like being canceled. It's just acting like you don't either, laugh about it and then, just kind of keep going. Because there will still be people that are going to stand you no matter what, which is mildly strange, but like, you have the fans that you do have. And the thing is, but what he does, like, with him though, he has his own product. He can sponsor himself.
Yeah. This podcast brought to you by Temper Tantrum.
Booking at Temper Tantrum.
Temper Tantrum booking at gmail.com. So I think that's the right one. But like the whole statement of like saying I'm learning from it. I'm like, yeah, you learn it, but like you can't learn it within 2 days. Like, how are you implementing it? Like, it's hard to show you're implementing a lesson.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's an abstract thought.
And this is the time for you to be actively tweeting about it, Instagram storying about it, Snapchatting about it. This is the time for you to be like, hey, I'm doing this now. I'm doing this now. I apologize to this person.
Like I would say, man, I thought no one's gonna do worse than Logan Paul. But I mean,
when in fact it's like the quote unquote nicest person on YouTube.
Yeah, like that's the thing too. Like, even though he Logan Paul kind of made a mistake. I mean, he did make a mistake. And he acknowledged it, and his apology.
His whole mistake.
To show like I've seen his more recent stuff, and it's definitely a lot better. He's still like the kind of like frat boy kind of, in a sense, quote unquote douche, but like at least when he made that mistake, he obviously made his apology video. He did the whole sad music, whatnot. But even then, he took a 1 month hiatus from YouTube. He actually interviewed suicide survivors. He went on he created a documentary, and he even donated $1 million to charity. Mm-hmm. So he did his best to at least PR, in a sense, to show he's learning. He's making an attempt to learn. He's talking to survivors about it. That shows at least an attempt to learn.
He didn't do anything that as bad as that, but he's still doing like pretty like shitty like stuff, but like nothing that bad, I guess.
Yeah, like I mean, in a sense, he's learned, because that's like in a sense what people want to see. They want to see how you're learning, like, because like for me, I'd probably enroll myself into a program to get some help,
or just get like a real PR person. Don't talk to a lawyer, talk to a PR person.
No, that's exactly what Dobrik's people did.
Talking to lawyers.
Both
lawyers are not good PR people.
They both did.
Lawyers need PR.
So like the whole like in general,
hire a better PR person. Hi, I'm available.
So like it's either way, it's both. Like if you've all these big people who've tried to cover their asses, they probably had both a PR person and a lawyer. We can't just assume that they only had it's just them. So
they need a better PR person. Hi, I'm here.
So no, they
need a PR person that actually knows them, not just somebody getting paid to be like, what do I do?
No, I mean, okay, well, in context, I don't know anyone else, but in context to Dobrik's PR person knows him pretty well. So they well. So the thing here again, it goes back to people trying to protect their own business assets because there's so much to lose from this mistake. The thing is, people get so caught up in the business, they forget about about being humans. They forget about the humanity of acknowledging, because they focus too much on what they're going to lose. And the whole idea of being vulnerable and owning up to your mistakes is a lot scarier than trying to make it go away and making it true and spending money on it. Someone who has a lot of money, you don't mind spending like $100,000, $300,000 to make a problem go away, versus because actually saying it and owning up to it, much harder. So
Well, and then it's also like it goes back to them actually having stuff to lose. Someone like me, I don't have anything to fucking lose. Like, I cancel me.
Yeah. So again, it's different. It just because it was it's I don't know. Like again, like I'd say like a pretty Logan Paul, not exactly the best, but in all, but like I acknowledge that I know some people all like can change, and at least what he did a pretty good PR campaign in a sense to show that he's aiming to understand what I think. Just my opinion, Dobrik should take that route and do some sort of do some charity. But for me, speaking for myself, if I went through that, I don't know if hypothetically, like if we got to that level, I think I would talk to the people first behind the camera because I think that's one of the things a lot of these internet personalities, they turn the camera on before they even pick up their phone and call the fucking person or give them a text. So talk to them. Second is like, find some sort of way to learn about it. Because when I discovered like my anger was getting into a problem, I looked into anger management, like for real. So, because, it's one thing to say I'm learning from it. Yeah, that's true. But like, it's even better I'd say like even therapy is a better way to go about it and approaching. Like, I don't know. These are just like my thoughts. And then I definitely like the idea of reaching out to survivors about it, just to hear their story, because it's one thing to hear about it from another person, but to actually have that person right in front of you and hear their story, it's like it hits home, especially if you're coming from a space of openness and listening, So, and I don't know. Probably be quiet for a bit. These are just ideas.
Yeah, I mean the biggest thing you can do is to just dip from the internet for a bit. I mean, you still have enough money to pay your people. Keep paying your people, like even though you're not posting. So
yeah, okay.
If you had a good enough accountant, you will have enough money to pay your people for a long time.
So let's see what's Joey saying. This was all before, right? LP did it right on the video. Who's LP?
Logan Paul.
Oh, Logan Paul, yeah. Did it right on. Yeah, those were kind of uncovered. Yeah, lawyers say, you can't say this. PR person says we need to say this. If you have a good PR person, they'll say that. Like lawyers will tell you the things you can't say that could potentially incriminate you. PR purposes, yeah, because
we'll work around it.
We'll try to work around it. Plus, you have to protect the people under you. That's true. I'm not there in their shoes, but at least say I take responsibility as the leader and those who are in it. But the rest of my company, they're still great people. Whatever happens to them, hire them. Yeah, I mean that's a good way of approaching. Because I know, like, that's the thing. Some people who are affected by this, or like the people responsible, they're trying to use the angle of like, yeah, well, I got people people working under me. I got people to mouths to feed. This is why like they're trying not to acknowledge it. But even then, like I'm a believer of taking responsibility. Like, I'm not saying it's your fault. Taking responsibility and being at fault is different. Like taking ownership of what's happening, and like, because once you're taking responsibility, that means you can control of like how you act upon it. Yeah, taking responsibility, I think, shows that one, you're willing to be vulnerable to what's happening. And I don't know. I feel like I just interrupted my own thoughts because I feel like I'm rambling. But yeah, I've taken responsibility.
I edit this live.
Yeah. So yeah, taking responsibility, it means that you're willing to be vulnerable to take the heat, even though it's not going to feel good. It's not going to be beneficial. And even if that means you might lose. And I think that's the thing. People are too afraid to lose, especially when there's a lot on the line.
Exactly.
So, and I don't know how we got. I was really trying to avoid this topic. I wanted to let you lead tonight, and because it's like, because the way I look at him is like I view a lot of like my friends, like I see the potential good in them, but it frustrates me when they do something stupid and when they don't like acknowledge it, and then because you see the potential in some of your friends, and it's their life. You can't preach on them, otherwise they're gonna be like you're nagging or. Yeah,
I don't like. Here's the thing. Like, I love my friends, but like they know that I don't care enough to like preach to them. It's just like, all right, you want a worse life for yourself? Go ahead.
Yeah, because it's like the whole thing. Like the teacher will come once the student's ready.
Yeah, and it's not like I have like any like right to speak on like hell. I still live at home or whatever. Like I don't exactly have I don't have it together. But when I do see people like that are like doing quote unquote a little better than me and they're screwing it up for themselves, it's like, bro. You have all this shit and you're screwing this up for yourself. But you know what? You do you, girl. I mean, like, just fuck up your own life. I'll be here.
I mean,
but I'm not going to stop you.
That's an interesting thing, though. Like, when was it okay to just? I know some people would call that selling out on your friends because
Letting
they can
them
do better.
fuck
Yeah,
up
like,
on yeah, because when they're adults, then yes.
like
When we're all in our 30s, yeah, let them fuck up. You're fucking 30.
at the same time, like, when does it come to the point like where you should try to like step in and try to be that stand for them? Like, hey, like, almost like when people have I guess
Well,
interventions.
it's not like I'm gonna drop them as a friend. I'll keep checking in on them, but it's like, like when I can tell that it's bad, then yeah, I'll step in. I'll intervene with whatever I can do. Like, it's not like I have anything to contribute or whatever. But like, I'll tell them, but like, I'll be honest, like, I'll be straight with you. I never thought this was a good idea, and if they start going, then why didn't you stop me? I'm like, because you're 30, making your own fucking decisions. I'm not going to tell a 30-year-old what to do with their whole fucking life. Like, I'm not your mother. Like, you made your bed. Either you lay in it or you fix it or you get a different bed.
That's a good point, because it's their life. They're adults. Yeah, I kind of want to hop on the random question thing we were talking about last night during the VP meeting. Well, yeah, what's often like anyone who's in the chat, like, what is romanticized
in modern culture that shouldn't be?
Thank you. So what is romanticized in modern culture that shouldn't be? Yeah, I was remembering questions wasn't my best. Like, I have to reread a question like a million times before I actually okay.
So what was your answer?
What was my answer?
Oh my God, I'll give you my answer.
Go ahead.
Oh, so my answer and Bernie's answer would have been, it's the whole hero worship of people in general, but like for me specifically in this country and like other countries now, apparently, where kind of like some sort of Western values have kind of seeped over, the hero worship of police, military, and politicians, like the people that are technically here to serve you, that your tax money pays for. Like, I have never seen a country fucking worship at the feet of fucking police like here, and it's to the point that, like, this like weird hero worship of like police and military. There's one to thank them for their service, right? There's one to thank them for their service, to thank them for your freedom or whatever. But like it gets to, like, some of them are pretty level-headed enough that, like, they're not like, a lot of them, a majority of them are like level-headed enough, like veterans, that can be like, they don't go around asking for a veteran's discount. When somebody finds out they're a veteran and they get the discount, they're grateful for it. But there's people, and then there's military spouses that take on the hero worship upon themselves. Like, they absorb that. They think they serve too. It's like, when it's like there was a story where this woman who was a military wife went to like an Applebee's or something, and and they ordered couple orders of wine, couple orders of margs, whatever, and the waitress charged them for everything, obviously, because they're people. And they were like, and in the tip line they put 0, and they said, I am a military spouse, I serve too, we should be eating for free for what we do for this country. I'm like, so you got married at 19, okay, you got married at 19 and your husband got shipped off to a different country, and now you're stuck with your spawn, and you're only 24. Okay, like, I'm obviously generalizing, not all military wives are like that.
Yeah.
But it's the one that really give military spouses, military families, like, a bad name. Like, dude, not all military families are like that. I mean, there was someone, that came to my job when I was still working when I was working on site, and I was working the customer facing side, and they were like, my husband is a veteran, or like is active duty actually, and he's going to be in Guam or whatever for like a couple months. I was wondering, like, you had a discount for military, like including veterans and active duty. And I'm like, yeah. So, in your family's case, it's going to be either a couple's membership for you two, a whole family membership if you have kids, or a single adult membership for him, because he's the one that benefits from it. He goes, what about me? I'm like, well, if it's just you, it's $81 a month. They go, is that with a discount? No. He was like, well, I thought you had the discount. I'm like, oh, do you have paperwork that proves that you served or are currently serving? And he was like, no, it's my husband. I told you. Are you dumb? I'm like, yeah, but
Did she say that?
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
And I was like, and I told you that we have the discount is for the benefit of the one who served or is currently serving. So if that's your husband, then he gets the discount. So he gets the discount for a solo membership for him. It applies for his family, and it applies for the both of you. So we can get a discounted couples membership that he doesn't have to use until he gets back from Guam, if you want to go that way. Or you can get, the regular Joe Schmo adult membership for yourself, and then upgrade to the discounted couples membership when he gets back. And then she was like, well, don't you guys have babysitting? I was like, we do. Is it free for? No, it's not. And he's like, how much is it? It's $5 for 2 hours per kid. That's a lot. I'm like,
$5 for 2 hours? Get the fuck out of here, man.
Right? $5 for 2 hours. And it's a whole, like, you've seen it. It's a whole fucking playground.
For $5.
And there's an area, depending on the age of the child, there's an area there for like 8-year-olds.
Do people know these people know how much the actual price of real babysitting is?
I used to get paid $500 for a night.
Damn.
Just one night. And it's not even like, not even the whole day. Like, it's literally just a night because they're going out. And then they come back at midnight. And then I go home. I just get $500. All I have to do, and like these kids are good. So I'm just like, all right, bedtime. Okay. Right back. I read a book to one of them. I rock the baby to sleep and I'm done. And I'm gonna sleep on their couch watching fucking Nick at Night. So it's normally I wake up to fucking George Lopez.
Yeah. So Joy brought something up on the chat, being social media famous or just fame in general. That's a pretty good point. I feel like
it kind of like goes into that whole like hero worship thing, right?
Yeah, in a sense, like the whole idea of, I don't know. I think people have this really weird idea of what it's like to be famous. People love the attention until they don't. But the thing
here's
is,
my thing. I'll call someone a hero when they're dead. Like that's a little cold. But I mean, if, like what Joey said, like, military people suggesting not to look at them as a hero because they're just doing their job. Like, that's it. Like, these people were just doing their jobs. Like if they died doing their jobs, depending on what it is, then that's a hero. If they were badly hurt doing their jobs, that's a hero. I was listening to NPR like a couple weekends ago because my friends and I listen to NPR in the car when we're not listening to hilarious Dungeons and Dragons podcasts. And this was like recorded early on not even early on, like it was recorded like months ago. And this was a nurse in New York City saying that, people are like saying that we're heroes and we're the frontline heroes, blah, blah, blah. And they were like, I wish they wouldn't say that because then that means that takes the responsibility off of the regular person to care about the rest of society.
Yeah, in a sense.
So like if we're seeing, like, if we're just like, we'll leave it up to the heroes, we'll leave it up to the nurses, the EMTs or whatever. Like, I'm not a doctor. It's not my job to protect you.
It's almost like the whole thing, like if we had a superhuman society, like they would just be lazy and be like, oh, Superman will save me or Spider-Man will save me. Like, then they get lazy. Oh, interesting. Yeah. It's almost like having supers to just enable people's laziness.
Iron Man will save me. Wait.
Yeah, because if there weren't heroes, I mean, to people,
the idea of a hero is kind of like great. It's good to have people to look up to want to emulate, because that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
it's someone you look up to, someone that like goes above and beyond or whatever. These people are just doing their jobs.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Like with the heroes, like the real heroes don't think they're heroes. They just view it as like they have a duty to fulfill they just got a job to do.
Yeah.
Like the nurses, the veterans, the cops, like they just got a job to do. The good cops. Like it's like, but the ones who are these overinflated egos often are the
ones that feed off of this like weird like hero worship, so they think they're invincible. And to a point, because like people are like, they're still gonna be like fucking bootlickers out there, but they're cops. They're just doing their jobs. I'm like, if their job involves killing people for no fucking reason, then they need a different job description. Mm-hmm. They need to reassess that job description, because I don't think that should be in there.
Yeah. So going back to the whole social media famous or just fame in general, similar, like where the thing is like they're depending on the whole fame thing. It depends what it is. If it's entertainment, the whole entertainment aspect of fame is just like, I mean, they do a good job, but it's over like they get there's a huge imbalance of attention and I'd say glorification and also financial compensation on the entertainment end versus people working in the educational sector. Like I would say like entertainment.
Talk to me about teachers.
Then the whole empowerment industry, like self-help, the churches. I feel like that kind, like that industry, is still $1 billion Like,
Oh my
I'm
God.
just
I
throwing
know.
an arbitrary number. They're still getting,
there and say nice things to people.
or yeah, like like Tony Robbins and all that stuff, or whoever does self-help.
I mean,
Yeah, more power to
yeah.
them. But I'm just saying, simply stating that they get paid more than the people who are educating the future,
Yeah.
teachers and whatnot. Because it's
And
not
the
as
thing is, if teachers weren't so overworked and underpaid, they could actually be doing exactly that along with educating them. And there are teachers that do that. There are teachers that, on top of educating and like making sure they can take tests and like pass exams and all that, they also like empower them and be like, and guide them or whatever. And that's technically not part of the job description.
Yeah, like they in a sense have to be all three. They have to be entertaining to the kids or to the students, empowering,
and have to shell out their own money for art material sometimes. Like,
yeah, so it's interesting. It makes me wonder, what our society would look like if we were kind of like praising the educators equally as paying them as equally as the entertainers.
Because at the beginning of like quarantine, at the beginning of like Zoom school, everyone's like, yay for teachers, like they should be getting paid more.
Yeah, and then
think about it, you as the parent actually kind of have power over the school.
Yeah, and now fast forward to now, like motherfuckers protesting for schools to reopen. It's like y'all were happy about it before,
Well, yeah, well now they can't stand their kids. Also, I mean, it's hard. Okay, I get it. It's hard. You're working, you're teaching. You have to teach yourself, then your kid. I get it. It's hard.
Super tough.
It's hard. And like, and then there's, there are people that still look at school. There are still parents, like not a lot. Obviously, not every parent does this. Not every parent does this. So don't fucking come for me. But just from my experience as someone who worked in early childhood care / education, because I had to take on some teacher duties for a little bit. Like literally, some of them just literally look at school or like preschool or any sort of educational like place or like or facility or whatever as a glorified babysitter.
Yeah.
And again, it's a very, very minimal like amount of parents that do think that, but but like they're also the loudest ones. So it's easy for other people who have never been parents or teachers or caregivers for kids to assume that people just think that parents only look at school as babysitting.
Yeah. I mean,
in a way it kind of is, because like especially if you have to work, then obviously that's in school.
Because when in the beginning of the whole quarantine thing, like I had to I prepped everything I can to I had to somehow establish a rhythm for Jordan to focus on school. Like when he was doing school here prior to his mom getting to work remotely, he was literally sitting right next on my desk having to pay attention while I was working. I would I would half listen to what the lesson is.
Yeah.
So if I needed to help him with homework, when a good chunk of the time, and half the time I was Steph, his mom would correct my terrible interpretation of it.
Dad was wrong.
Yeah.
But Dad said no.
Yeah, but yeah, he's a smart kid. He the thing with him is he picks up.
Here's the thing, you lucked out. You lucked out. There are kids out there that are unable to learn like that. I'm not saying they're dumb. They're not. Well, there's no such thing as a dumb child.
No.
There's a dumb adult.
They
as a result of an poorly educated child.
They just not changing
they just don't learn that way.
Yeah, he hates learning that way, and the best time
he's at least able to.
When
he hates
learns,
it.
Yeah, he likes it when we do the lesson together. It's very involved. Yeah, I had to it was tough because I had when he was taking a break, because they would give him breaks, I would still be working, and obviously I have my own break, so I would try to help him. It was tough, especially trying to make sure that I'm trying to either edit a video, do a meeting, or whatever it is. But at the same time, as a parent, no matter what, if they're in that same room, you're always thinking about making sure.
Are you learning? Yeah. Are you learning, son?
So yeah, I'd say for me, I think from my perspective, I kind of like that he's being around me and his mom more, because I know I did not get some of my stupid idiot tendencies from my mom or dad. It's probably from my stupid friends growing up. So actually, that might be even worse because it's from me. But yeah, I mean, the one thing I miss is just seeing him interact with other kids, because the whole social aspect is so, I think, important. Social skills or learning how to be, because he acts differently with mom and dad, which is much more outrageous. But yeah, do you want to start transitioning to the WandaVision stuff?
Yeah, sure.
Do you have anything to say?
Pay teachers more. If you're going to go back to school, I get it. You want your kids to go. Oh, here's the thing. I'm making that mistake right now. People are like, I want my kids to go back to school. No, your kids have been in school. They just haven't been in a building.
Yeah.
You want your kids back in the building and out of the house.
Yeah.
They've been back in school, like it or not, whether you want to acknowledge that or not, they've been in school.
Yeah.
Like they've been learning this whole time, or at least trying to learn. And you've hopefully been helping or whatever, because a teacher can only do so much through a fucking camera.
Yeah.
And even with like now, like on like, you know, once they go in the building, like how's helping a kid gonna work? Like if, especially for like, you know, there are kids that like have a harder time, but don't want the rest of the class to know, but like want to pull a teacher aside and ask them like, hey, help me with this one. Like in hushed tones, like how can you like do that now? Do they have, can teachers not be that up close to a student anymore?
Yeah. And it's crazy too. Cause like Jordan straight up told me and his mom, like, he hates Zoom school. Like he was just mad and just frustrated and over it.
Totally get it.
And then we asked him like, how come? And it's like just too many kids, like just
talking at the same time.
Talking at the same time. He can't hear, and you know, like, and obviously like he's in front of a screen. Well, I know his ass is on fucking YouTube because you know what?
Because you would too.
I would be too. If the lesson
especially
was
had
not
I
engaging.
been his age now, had I been a child now, yeah, I'd be on YouTube.
Yeah, like because
I'm on YouTube while I'm working.
Like, because that's the thing too. Like he's because I know when he's engaged. Like if he's watching a YouTube tutorial, like if we're in it, well, he'll watch it. So that's the thing. Like these lessons aren't exactly engaging,
and he won't say anything unless it's over.
Yeah. So that's the thing with I shouts out to the teachers who are taking an extra mile and making their friggin' Zoom class every day like a friggin' live, like a Zoom Mr. Rogers, or making it into a friggin'
hard, dude.
That because you are pretty much a one person live action show. live action show.
It's hard enough to command attention in person, like, especially for, you know, kids their age and like younger. It's hard enough to command their attention in person, but like it's a little easier because you're like, hey, you. Like you can literally be like, put them in timeout. Like, how when you put a child in timeout, they're already in their room.
Hit him with a chair. I'm just kidding.
We're not going back to that.
That's a callback to our previous episode.
We're not going back to WrestleMania daycare. But yeah, like it's a lot harder to command the attention of a child who now has access to the internet
at the same time.
Like, you know, kids are smarter than you think. They can shift tabs. They can have two screens on at the same time. Like,
yeah, shit. See when either me or his mom walk in and he
just like flips tabs.
The tabs so quick. I'm like,
attaboy.
Like don't play that game. I know this game.
I know what you're trying to do. I wasn't like the one time like he like gets like fully caught. Like if he doesn't do it quick enough, to be like, you're getting rusty. I mean, you're getting slow.
I mean, that's one thing I'm trying to learn. And I read this article earlier about try not to argue with kids, and like I haven't read it like fully. I kind of skimmed through it because like it's a common I guess Western society thing to like argue with their kids.
Also Asian.
And Asians, yes, you're right. And I'm trying to like find a way to avoid that, and like somehow because it just doesn't feel good. Because then it's like I'm bossy and I just don't like I don't know. It just doesn't feel the end result just doesn't feel good. So I'm trying to figure. I have no idea how I got there, but yeah.
Something about your child being pretty quick at switching tabs over.
Oh yeah, and because I guess most kids would expect to be reprimanded for that. Like I'm pretty sure he expects to be reprimanded for that.
That's why he got quick with it.
So and that's the thing. Like I want to eventually give him. I understand the importance of autonomy for him, because then he gets to discover himself, like his own control. It's his life, his body, his decisions. But I also want him to understand the importance of you're in the school game right now. If you want to go to the next level, you got to get this done. So, and then I feel he understanding of the consequences of not doing it. Because for me,
this whole YouTube thing's just kind of technically for fun right now. But if you want this to be your thing, at least finish high school. I
don't even know if he's trying to be.
He just wants to do it.
It's fun.
At least for right now. But what if he develops the bug?
I mean, I'm gonna let him.
Which you're gonna be very supportive of.
Whatever passion he finds, I'm gonna be supportive of. But at the same time, since he's in the game of school, he just do the fucking work. Yeah,
Well, yeah, it's hard to explain the whole like concept of balance to a child because they just want to do one thing. They like to do what's fun.
Yeah, that's the thing. And
childhood should be fun.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like maybe like the whole doing it together. He seems to thrive and enjoy things on the homework when we're doing it together. Even
well, yeah, at least there's that. At least you have that. Like some kids just don't want to do homework at all because, like me, because homework's bullshit. I mean, for Zoom school, everything's homework. So yeah, I'll do it because that's the schoolwork.
Oh my god! And the amount of homework they get. Oh my god!
On top of the regular schoolwork.
I feel like the amount they're getting is the stuff they should be getting from school.
At school, yeah. And then the homework on top, and then there's like other homework on top of it too, right?
Yeah, it's a lot.
I think that's you know.
I don't remember ever getting this much when I was a kid.
I don't know if it's like the teacher's individual decision or if it's like the school or like school districts, like, you know, this is what you're gonna do. I
think, and that's the thing with like at least in American schools, it's so focused on the like not that academics, but like hitting the whole like I guess the quota of like making sure like the certain grades, making sure
certain number of kids get a certain number of grades.
Yeah, because then that determines a certain amount of funding, which is I think entirely fucking bullshit. Because not everyone's gonna be like, you know.
And the thing is, and here's the thing, like the success of some schools, like some students in some schools, heavily depend on the funding. So it's kind of like a vicious cycle. The high school, like the schools that my younger brother went to, like here, you know, it's kind of it's an affluent, mostly white town, and you know these schools just, you know, pretty much give out Chromebooks and like fucking iPads, and they have a robotics team. And
that sounds like Jordan's school.
Exactly. And again, like that area in Los Angeles is pretty well to do. So yeah. So nowadays, well also like, and like, you know, but you also told me that like, you know, the arts are not being funded, so therefore the parents funded the arts. Yeah,
the parents at the PTA actually like came together for that. I was like, holy shit.
So not only do they have good enough funding from the city or the school district or whatever, from the government, they also have funding from the parents themselves. So
the parents are, from what I've noticed, are pretty active and like, which I really appreciate.
Well, that's also a good thing.
Yeah, because it also helps like a lot of the parents are also, or if you've seen some of them, like are pretty are artists or currently still in bands that.
Oh my God, when you told me that, I was like, they were just in Brooklyn.
Yeah. So it was so like I didn't know who they were until but until
you told me, and I was like,
these parents, and I'm like, are they music producers? Are they look at them, and then some of them are like they're in the creative side in terms of like TV producers, or I forgot. One of them was I think a former producer for Buffy back in the day, and he was telling the kids about. He was speaking of which, career day. I need to send
yeah, that's what you don't get to have now, career day.
Yeah. Oh, they're still doing it,
but like Zoom. True. Do you break dance? I
don't know. I'm gonna tell them like either this or this. I have a feeling they're gonna tell me about the dancing. I can't.
Oh yeah, because that's what they picked the last time.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, I can show them the temper tantrum stuff.
Oh yeah. So that way you don't have to break dance in front of them. You just be like, share your screen.
Yeah. It's just not me dancing.
Yeah. Okay. You're in it like I direct them. They're like, what's direct? I'm kidding. They're not dumb.
I think we're gonna end it here, everyone. So I appreciate everyone who listened, who's listening, who's watching on the YouTube and on Twitch. And if you guys like it, wherever you're watching this on YouTube or wherever, make sure you hit like, subscribe, share this with friends who you think might enjoy it. And if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, make sure you leave us a nice positive review. And if you don't like it, leave us a positive review. And shouts out to everyone who was on chat. Shouts out to Diego, Neff, B-Rock, who's been here the whole time. Jax, who was here earlier. So I appreciate you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the live stream of the podcast. And those of you guys who are listening, join us for the podcast. We would love for you guys to be there and we can chat. So with that, we'll see you guys in the next episode of Awkward Tea Party, or I'll see you guys on, K-pop church this Sunday.
Yes. Don't forget to wear your Sunday best, aka sweatpants.
So appreciate you guys, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Beep. Beep.